Before the video begins, I'd like to give a shout out and thank you to the people on screen for supporting me on Patreon. Enjoy the video.
Hello and welcome to part 5 of Sega GT. In this part we're going to be now tackling onto the Works Cup now that the driver's test is all complete, as you can see with the little emblem on the right. The Works Cup is basically the reason I was trying to go for the best overall time or the fastest laps in each car brand's respective license, because by doing so you get rewarded with the chance to use a race car and race it against other works cars of their respective class, and winning those races will get you the car that you drove. Which in a lot of ways basically gives you a very nice head start to the game if you choose to go through all this first rather than doing anything else, which is what I like to do because it really does give you a huge boost compared to everything else, and you can also make money from doing this, so it even gives you more of an advantage. So first up, of course, is going to be the extra class, and again we're going to be going from top to bottom. Top to bottom, which means Suzuki Sport is the first one up again. And the track is Great Rock Road, with a $3,000 cash prize for grab for getting first, and a $1,000 cash prize for qualifying in pole position. Now I am going to be doing that off screen because it's something worth doing because you can get bonus cash. But I will at least show it off one time here. But I'm not gonna do that for all the vehicles because then I just want to keep the train rolling. Now, one thing that you can do here, which is very similar to Gran Turismo, is by the time you get to this point in the game, you can adjust the car's settings, so you can fine-tune it to your liking. And because I'm in a race car, I'm going to take advantage of anything I can. So this tuned-up Suzuki has a turbo boost, so I decided to put it on the highest to get the most power out of it. I put the softest tires on it to maximize grip, and I also put downforce on it to make it corner better. Now, just to show you, there's other things too, like all of that, but I am not going to try touching that because I'm not very smart at using stuff like that. So again, like I said, I will do the qualifying for at least one time around, and then afterwards it'll just be something I probably just either do off screen or just skip altogether. It's something I wouldn't mind doing because, extra money. So yeah, I might just do it off screen to save some time. But yeah, as you see here, Suzuki Sport is a very tuned-up version of the AltaWorks, basically a very cup, kind of almost like a little cup racer kind of thing, so that, like if you would see it in like some kind of one-make series somewhere. Very nice, though, very Suzuki-esque. It's quite cool, and of course, because it's a race car, it handles exceptionally well. Ooh, I turned a little too early there, but that's fine. If anything, because that's a really tough corner, that's probably a good thing that I did that. I should still be able to get the fastest lap, which here is a 1:02.204. Now, if I didn't put on any downforce, this thing would be going probably a little bit quicker. But I'm all a handling person because the faster you can go around the corners, the more you can benefit the speed you have on hand. So I didn't quite get the fastest lap, but I did still get the pole position. So there you go. In fact, I quite easily got it. All the other cars couldn't even get lower than a 1:04, so it was a very comfortable first place pole position. And there's our bonus money of $1,000. It's nothing too serious. You'll never make as much as you do in the actual races, but it's just it's there if you want to just give yourself a little bit of a boost. So there's nothing, and there's nothing wrong with giving yourself a bit of a boost, in my opinion. Now, every other car behind me, of course, are tuned-up versions of their cars too, which we'll be able to get a closer look at when we move over to their cars. So this is basically a simple 2-lap race around here, which means this won't particularly take too long with these cars here, because Great Rock Road is a track that only takes just over a minute on a standing lap with these kind of vehicles to begin with, and a flying lap, would be under a minute. So yeah, you can definitely see just how tough that corner is. If for whatever reason it seems like the less your car will always turn a certain amount, and then it never quite makes enough to do such a sharp corner like that. It's really infuriating. But yeah, as you can see, the AI is definitely not keeping up with me. It's got that similar Gran Turismo effect where they seem to go faster during the qualifying lap than they do in the actual race. So from here I can pretty much very comfortably cruise my way to the finish, and just be able to take advantage of having a car that's well tuned and all that kind of stuff. See I really had to let off there just to kind of keep it off the sand there. But it doesn't matter. We're well ahead anyway, so even if we went off, it wouldn't have affected me in any sort of bad way. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get the fastest lap just because downforce and everything. At least close, at least. But nevertheless, we come home. Oh my God, I was 1,000th away from the total record. That's ridiculous. I think that's as close as I've ever gotten to not getting it. So yeah, very, very, very easy finish. We absolutely killed the competition. I'm gonna wait and see if the second place car can even finish before it fades out. Nope. They took so long that the game didn't even want to wait up. And with that, we get the $3,000 bonus for finishing first, as well as the AltaWorks that we drove now being in our garage. It's very, very nice. So it means we get a nice little E-Class car that we can use. So there's one down, and it means there's 5 to go. And again, I'm going to just be cutting out all the qualifying. So, in fact, I'll actually be honest. I don't even think I'm really going to bother, to be honest. I just wanted to show it off at least once. I'm going to just do it one per thing, and then I'll just skip the rest. So we got the Subaru next, which means it would be the Plio. And this thing has a bit of a supercharger boost. Not as much extra power as you get from the likes of the AltaWorks, but you know. So yeah, I'm just going to I'll just gonna skip qualifying. Yeah, it does mean I'm gonna lose out on a bit of money, but right now I don't think we have to worry too much about that. Simply just based off the fact that I'm gonna be quite good on the money front by the time we're done with all these, as you will find out. So here's the Plio. It's got that white and pink style that, just like that Impreza we unlocked for completing all of the licensed events. So you know, it only makes sense that the Plio is just like that. Also gives you more of a sneak preview of how some of the other cars look. And yep, just like the regular Plio, this still has 7 gears. Still very strange, but hey. There we go. That was actually not too bad around there. Now, the one thing to keep in mind for these events is it's not always going to be the same track for the class. I mean, it's the same track per class, but the track per class is actually different. So when we get to the B class, we're not going to be doing this track again. And I think it also adds a lap per class. So 2 laps for the E class, 3 laps for B, 4 laps for A, and 5 laps for SA, which makes sense. And yeah, this car seems to have a slightly lower top end in comparison to the AltaWorks. Not too far off, but just a little bit less. Ooh, I had a pretty bad angle through there, to be honest. Nah, that was not pretty, but it'll get the job done at least. Alright, let's just bring the car home, and all shall be well. Okay, now I know this isn't going to be the fastest lap. This is definitely a slower run than before. The Plio isn't quite as good as the AltaWorks. It's not too bad off, but, you know, not quite. Not going to keep waiting because I don't want to hold you guys up for too long for a bunch of stuff. But there we go. We got this works car now, the Plio, as we drove and as we had been driving. And yeah, it does look quite nice with this white and pink. It's quite tastefully done. Alright, so next up will be DRS, which means that should be the Opti, if I remember correctly. Now, can we do anything to this car? Let's see, anything in the engine? Yep, we get a turbo boost. This car makes, I think it makes a little more horsepower than the AltaWorks. Not a whole lot more, but just a little bit. And we'll put the soft tires, and again, just because downforce. I want to actually see if any car can get that fastest lap or total time with the downforce. It's probably easier on a track like this to leave the downforce off. But hey, I don't mind giving myself just a little bit more of a challenge to try and see if I can actually beat it. Just giving myself a quick drink there. So yeah, the Opti has that traditional white and red Daihatsu racing scheme, which is, in my opinion, a very nice looking livery. As we just kind of cut our way through here a little bit. There we go, nice and easy. Looks like this one might actually, despite kind of being around the same power as that Suzuki, this one might have a lower top end. Certainly handles good. Handles excellently, in fact, but I don't know, might not be particularly as quick as that Suzuki. Holy crap, though! Look at that angle. That was insanely good. I just kind of cheated it a bit, kind of bonked the wall, and just turned in, and I did that corner around 70 without going off. That was exceptionally good. Maybe the Opti just is such a great handling vehicle for an E-Class works car that it can just kind of get away with having a slightly lower top end. Because as you can see there, that was still only about a 103, and I just think that's down to the fact that the Opti just doesn't have the same top end. It's kind of topping out there at about 105, just about. Kind of a shame because this thing is, handling-wise, this car is excellent. It's really good. Yeah, looks like I guess that's gonna have to be my little trick from now on. Whenever I do that track, just kind of fang left and just kind of snap it to the right. That might give it a sharper angle. But that's fine enough. Still a simple track nonetheless, and yeah, we're easily killing it up here. The competition is way back there. But again, it's the top end. It's the top end of the Opti that definitely lets this car down. I think only does about 105, which is slower than both the Plio and the AltaWorks. Nevertheless, still a win. Still $3,000, and we've doubled our starting money. And there it is, the Daihatsu Opti Aerodown Beaks, as it's known as. This car does look really nice with its racing livery. It's very simple, but good. You know, may not be the prettiest car in the world, but the livery is nice. So Mugen's next, which should mean that would be the Honda Z Turbo. Yes, as I was correct. Again, just gonna go through here real quickly. Now, yep, get a turbo boost. Wow, this car makes quite a lot more power at about 149 horsepower. That gives me a suspicion this car might not be particularly the fastest. But we shall see. This is definitely the most powerful car so far out of the group that I've tested. So let's just do this again, skip the qualifying, and just go right into the race. Just clearing things up. Clearing things up a little bit. Yep, this one is it seems to be an all black with a nice simple Mugen livery. And This thing apparently does not like starting off. You give it all the revs, and it just doesn't do anything. And unlike the regular Z Turbo, this car has a 5th gear. It has a bonus. And yet... Oh. Something happened there. Oh god. Whoa. Hold the phone there. This car is a lot more unstable. Notably unstable, even compared to the... Even the standard Z Turbo is not anything like this. Yep, still botched that. That's fine, I don't particularly care too much. Because we are still in the lead, and, you know, it's... Even despite the little hiccups this car is giving me, it's not like it's that so effective it's gonna make this winning a lot harder. But, man, this thing does not like staying completely flush in a straight line. There we go. At least here I can kind of keep it flush, and yeah, this thing, despite having the most horsepower, still is kind of still giving about the same amount of top end as the Opti, about 105. So all the extra power, and it doesn't go any faster. Now, again, this car probably would be going faster if I didn't put any aero on it, but you know, I can only imagine how much maybe slippery this thing would be if it... Yeah, okay, that's definitely the best way to do this corner. Such a cheap way of doing it, but it works. But yeah, this thing's just kind of all slippery and everything and whatnot. Definitely out of all the E-Class Works vehicles I've driven so far, I would probably say this one's the worst. Might be the most powerful, but it sure doesn't feel like it, and also just, you know, quite a bit overly sensitive. But it doesn't matter. We've now won, so that's all that matters. That's 4 cars down and still haven't come close to getting that total time. The AltaWorks was only 1,000th off, and then everything's just been kind of gradually slower. So here's hoping we actually get it, but there's a full look at the Z Turbo livery. It kind of looks better when it's zoomed out like that. But yeah. So, next one is probably going to be the most interesting in terms of vehicles. Mazda Speed, which means it's the glorious AZ1. I love the AZ1. Anything we can do to this? Yep, Turbo Boost. Yep, makes about the same amount of power as the majority of them, which is good. We can just crank that up. Tires. This one might actually be maybe one of... wouldn't actually be surprised if this one turns out to be one of the best, because I suspect the AZ1 is going to be the lightest vehicle, because it's definitely the smallest, which would give a definite hint towards that, but you never know. Let's just go ahead and bring this car out, and we'll see how we get on with it. Skip that. So yep, there it is, the Mazda Speed AZ1. It's got that kind of like A-spec livery that you might recognize from Gran Turismo and whatnot. Could have had a better start, but the fucking Z decided to get its fat ass in the way. Okay, this car is already definitely faster in a straight-in business than both the Opti and the Z Turbo. It's actually got quite a bit of go to it too. It's a lot closer to like the AltaWorks, in fact. That would have been better if I just done that better. It's a little on the slippery side, but definitely not as bad. I still wouldn't say it's as bad as that Z Turbo is, although it is quite a bit sensitive. Yeah, this first lap's been all sorts of ugly. It's fine. We're at least now in the area where we can really let the taps open. Yeah, this thing does about the same kind of top end as the AltaWorks does. But it's a lot slipperier. Holy Jesus, that kind of just confirms it there. It does not have the stability that the AltaWorks does. In fact, this thing is probably maybe a bit more unstable than the Z Turbo. The Z Turbo kind of flings about left and right, but you can really kind of stop it from really getting loose. The AZ1, I think, once you get it loose, you're gonna have to hold on for dear life. I just want to see if I can at least get a better lap here. Well, that wasn't particularly a good line there, but, you know, just kept it around 60. Alright, just kind of gotta be careful. I'm just gonna flick it a bit, just so the car doesn't snap out again. Oh, still did it! God damn it. Okay, well, I guess the AZ1 is definitely not what I was expecting it was going to be. I thought this may have been one of the really good ones, but it seems to be the most unstable of the group. That's kind of disappointing, to say the least, because the AZ1, out of all the vehicles in the E-Class that they give you in the licensing, this one is definitely my real-life favorite of the bunch. At least the racing mod looks quite nice for it, basically, or the works vehicle, technically. Which means all we got left is now Ralliart, which would be that very silly-looking Topo. So give it the turbo boost. Yep. Again, so it's really only the Z turbo that has all the extra power over everyone else, but it definitely doesn't help the car much in any way. So you know. So, oh well, I guess. But we'll see how the Topo gets on. But so far, I'd say out of all the Works vehicles, the Alto Works is definitely the best one for the E-Classes. There is technically still one other E-Class after this, but you already know the story of that one. If you've watched Part 2 of this LP, that is. And yeah, the Topo here, it's got a mock rally livery that's, I believe, if I remember correctly, based off the Lancer Evolution 5 rally livery, the one that Tommy Mäkinen drove during the '98 season. I do not believe the Topo ever had this design, but I guess what else are they going to put on it, right? It makes sense to put on something like this. It does make it kind of silly. It's just like, what if Tommy Mäkinen drove the Topo? Unfortunately, as you can see, this car doesn't quite have the same off-road capabilities as the Lancer Evolution does. This at least does handle quite nicely, though, I must say. I'd say the Opti was probably my favorite of all the handling vehicles, but this one's not bad. This one does have a better top end than the Opti, so it's got that going for it. Not quite AltoWorks or AZ1, but it doesn't get too far off. We're doing about a 110 right now. Gonna come in there, very nice. Could have probably turned a little bit sharper than that. Just a bit. Yep, had to kind of hit the handbrake there a bit, but to kind of keep it from going off. It worked. All we gotta do is just get this car down to the finish. Alrighty then. Yeah, not bad, but not quite the pace of the AltoWorks. The AltoWorks is still the best of all the E-Class vehicles that are here. But there we go. That is all of the E-Class Works races. And of course, we get the Topo. And I will quickly take a gander at these cars before I end the part. So yeah, we got. This is just how they show up. The Suzuki Sport AltoWorks RSZ. Yep, about 117 horsepower. Weighs 115 pound-feet of torque. Only weighs about 861 pounds. Front-wheel drive. STI Plio RS makes up only about 111 horsepower. Whoops. 111 horsepower, 108 pound-feet of torque. Weighs over 1,000 pounds. So yeah, there was probably no chance the Plio was ever going to be better than the AltoWorks in that regard. The DRS Opti Aero Down Beaks. Whoops, 119 horsepower, just so a little bit more powerful. 115 pound-feet of torque, 972 pounds. Kind of sits right in the middle of the first two. Mugen Z Turbo, yep, 149 horsepower, 130 pound-feet of torque. Only weighs about 564 pounds, so it's lighter All of them mentioned 674 pounds. So I guess that's balance. Oh, I was looking at the wrong thing. The weight is 1,238 pounds. Actually, because of that, what were the other ones again? Because I kind of was looking at the wrong thing. 1349. So the Suzuki's heavier. Interesting. Actually, yeah, it would be 1671 for the Plio, which doesn't surprise me, and 1481 for the Daihatsu. So the Mugen this Z Turbo is the lightest, but it doesn't certainly drive like it's the fastest, which is kind of a shame. The Mazda Speed AZ1, 118 horsepower, 115 pound-feet of torque, 1349 pounds. I'm surprised this weighs heavier than the Z Turbo. That's a bit surprising. Anyways, and then lastly, the Ralliart Topo BJR with 117 horsepower, 115 pound-feet of torque, 1,525 pounds. And just in case you're curious, because I didn't show that off in the last part, the Impreza 299 horsepower, 386 pound-feet of torque, 2,733 pounds. Just for completion's sake there. But yeah, that's going to do it, though, for this part today. Stay tuned for the next part, as I will be tackling the B-Class Works Cup. So, again, stay tuned for that. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can check out when my next video goes up. And you can follow me on Twitter, Twitch, or support me on Patreon if you want to help support the channel. Thank you very much, and as always, I will catch you all on the next one.